everyone. Netflix just released season 1 of The Last Airbender. That is the live action version of The Last Airbender. It was definitely better than the film that came out a while back, but is this live action series any good? Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you like it, hit subscribe for more videos, and you will absolutely make my day. Thank you. All right, so this story is the story of Aang, a young boy who is the Avatar reborn. He's also the youngest airbender in history to achieve the master level. But when the Fire Kingdom attacked the airbenders, he isn't there to help stop them and save his people. Now, 100 years later, and I'm avoiding spoilers for those of you who haven't seen it or haven't read the stories, 100 years later, Aang suddenly finds himself in the world again. It's a world that's vastly different than the one he left behind. If he doesn't find a way to stop the Fire Kingdom, everyone he ever loved will be gone and will have died in vain. So I really need to say right up front that I have actually never read the books. I haven't read the comics. I saw that one film way back when, and it was just really meh. And at the time, it kind of put me off of the series, so I never ended up getting back into it. However, I decided to give this new Netflix series a try because I always felt like I was missing out on something with the Last Airbender stories. So, decided to give it a try. And despite some issues with the series, I'm really glad that I did because I did enjoy it. Coming at this adaptation of The Last Airbender with no preconceived notion of what should happen and when is kind of a blessing because I could tell that fans are likely going to have a lot of nits and gripes about plot points and characters. Just, I don't know. I just got a sense of like that was going to be the big problem with the series. I know there's a huge fan base who loves these stories, and there were parts of it that just felt kind of squished together. And I don't know, I actually really enjoyed it, not knowing what parts should go where and when. But as I was watching it, I kept having these moments where I'm like, that when that should be happening? That seems kind of odd that everything's happening all at once, but maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. So I'm really curious what other people think about this, and I can't wait to go check out some of the other reactions. But before I start getting into that, let's just get into some of the things that I actually did really like. And you know what? The cast, most of the cast I liked really well. It's a very large cast, and some of them were quite good in their roles. And I did enjoy Aang as the Last Airbender. I think the actor did a pretty good job with the role. I felt he pulled him off as a very young child, but there were moments when he felt a lot older. So I thought that went well with his character. You know, he was sweet and he was kind, but maybe he was just a little too serious at times as well. And then there was Katara. I think in this series, she was actually my favorite character. There were some moments that were a bit rocky with her, but overall, I really enjoyed her. She's a young waterbender who's basically teaching herself, and she's pretty genius at how she teaches herself how to bend water by really watching other benders use their powers. Her brother Sokka is probably my least favorite character because his acting is a little bumpy. Like he was really inconsistent, and I don't know, it just kept throwing me out of the show. He was just so overly earnest when he delivered his lines that it didn't always feel natural. I really loved Prince Zuko. He's complex and angry, and for good reason. His father, Fire Lord Orzai, played by Daniel Day Kim, who I love, 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 by the way. I love him. Should absolutely win the award for the worst dad of the year. The way he plays games with his son, with both of his kids, actually, you know, he's just Daniel Day Kim does such a good job making me hate him. He just did such a good job with that. I love Daniel Day Kim. Great job. Anyways, of all the characters, I really do think that Zuko is the most interesting because he has the most to lose. He has the most growth to make as a person. And you really do get a sense of who he is really early in the series. And then you get all these great tidbits of who he's becoming along the way. And the fact that he's kind of the villain, I find that fascinating, that I was just really drawn to the villain in this story, even though I also got the sense that he isn't really going to be the villain forever. At least that's how it was really kind of coming off. Anyways, there are so many other great characters that I actually liked a lot as well, like Commander Zhao, who you will absolutely love to hate as well. That guy just really got under my skin, and I wanted to push him off the boat myself, honestly. And then there's Uncle, and I hope I say this right, Uncle Iroh, who you will love. I just loved him. I wanted to give that man a big hug constantly. And I really, really wanted to like Princess Yue, but honestly, her wig, I just couldn't stop looking at her hair and thinking about Daenerys Targaryen's hair and thinking, they did her hair so well. How did they get Yue's wig so wrong? It almost looks like cotton fibers woven on her head. And I was like, no, that just throws you so out of the story, just throws you so out of it. And I thought that was a real disservice to her character, because she actually did a good job with her role, but couldn't stop looking at her hair. Anyways, so what they got right with the series, they really got right, such as the landscape and the scenery. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful series to watch. And much of it was clearly AI generated or CGI, but it was just so beautiful, and it was a great landscape to behold. And you really felt like you were seeing the world and seeing the scenery of the world as a whole. The battles were also really fantastic, from the one-on-one fights to the full-scale scenes of war. They really, really made good use of their ability to create fire, water, wind, and earth magic that looked fantastic on screen. And the final scene, I mean, of all the fights and all the battles, I've got to give them props for the final battle scene. And I don't want to give anything away. If you haven't watched it, I don't want to give it away. But the big battle at the end was just breathtaking in its scope, and some of the things they pulled off there, I really thought they did a great job with it. And there were also a few moments in the story that had a real emotional punch, such as the moment with Zuko when he returned to the boat and his uncle kind of told a certain story to the crew that changed the way they thought of him and responded to him. And there's just that moment where I actually felt myself get a little worked up. And I thought, man, Zuko, what? That guy just needed that moment. And I loved it. I just loved it. The scene that led up to that was also equally as powerful, as were most of the other scenes featuring Zuko before he went on this voyage, when he was being belittled or punished by his father. And I think that literally every powerful emotional scene in the series included Zuko in some way, which really made him feel like the kind of co-main character alongside Aang. And while I really like Aang in the series, it kind of bothered me that he didn't learn anything about bending the other elements over the course of the season. I I don't think he even actually tried, other than in a cursory moment here or there. I mean, and surprisingly, he never learned a stitch of waterbending from Katara. I mean, even though there were these scenes in which he was guiding her and helping her learn how to control her power. I mean, why why couldn't he internalize those own moments, or have her share with him what she was doing and experiencing, and having him try it? I mean, it just would have felt like a natural connection, and in those moments for him at least to try. But the fact that he never figured it out on his own, I mean, of course, he's not going to become a master on his own, or maybe he could have, but he didn't get any new skills, like none, zero, zilch. Um, which means like he's now going to be starting season 2 in essentially the same place he was when he started season 1. And I think that's a real disservice to his character. I mean, the only thing that he seemed to learn how to do in season 1 was to give his power over to past avatars or spirits to use his body or guide him in that way. But I don't know, I just felt like that must be a disconnect from the original story, because I can't imagine in a written story, whether comics or fiction, that you could get through an entire novel or book without the main character kind of getting to the next point there. And also, I've already mentioned Princess Yue's hair, so I'm not going to go into that again. But the other thing that I didn't really like, and I think it was kind of a consistent thing with some elements of all of the costumes. For instance, King Bumi's hat. I mean, I wanted to like just rip it off his head. It just, I know it was supposed to be large and kind of ridiculous, but there was just something about it that looked really fake. It didn't look like a king's hat in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. I guess I have issues with hair and hats and things. But other than that, I mean, most of the other costumes I actually liked pretty well. And overall, I found myself really enjoying season 1 of The Last Airbender, and I'm sure I'm going to check out season 2. I think that most people will probably get a lot out of it, even if it doesn't hit all the beats that they want it to hit when they want it to hit. It was a fun series, and it's good just to sit and relax and watch it. It's a great bingeable show for the whole family. It's something you can watch in big chunks and feel good about it. So, have you seen it? Did you watch it? What did you think? And are you a fan? Are you a longtime fan of the series? And how do you think they did hitting those beats as a fan? Did you like how they did it? I would really love to know what your impressions were. So be sure to leave a comment. That's it for now, everyone. Thanks so much. And be sure to give this review a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe for more videos, because there are more videos coming. Until then, happy viewing, and I will see you again soon. All right, bye.